specifically the votes of those on the steering committee more equal than those in the public. But you do get what you pay for, and it was not the public that sponsored this consultation with Market Street. The funders are listed on the website as well.
Act the city on top of these cuts. I don't want you to forget these. The first one is, you might know within a couple months, the city assessor has announced that we are going to experience a loss of $225 million in commercial valuations. I'll repeat that again, $225 million of lost commercial valuations. First time in my time with the city that we've seen that kind of reduction in commercial values. If you do the simple math, that $225 million equates to about $3.7 per year in lost tax revenues. Now that's in addition to, that is going to happen regardless of what the legislature does, so that's a point of beginning for us. We got
so 3.7 million?
3.7 million, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, I should have left out the word million, $3.7 million per year, and that's an ongoing number, it's an annualized number.
On top of the 30 million that you identified earlier?
Yes, ma'am.
That's how that went, and then also I'll just note that there was a kind of a bizarre expression on some of the faces, not of the public, but on the organizers when the questioning continued, and we kind of gathered the idea of who was really running the show, not us. The expression that I saw, I could guess I could describe it as condescending amusement. Amusement, you know, with us. It was weird.
The second point I want you to keep in mind is by action of this council over the last 5 years, you've cut $24 million in annual expenses from your general fund budget. So those who think that we're fat and happy and can afford to make cuts easily, think again. You've cut $24 million, and those have been difficult decisions. You've made them. You've done a great job. And you've not increased the tax rate over that period of time.
I kind of got the impression from that people who seek to participate in changing their communities might find themselves shut out in a very amusing way. Very interesting meeting.
The last thing to point out is that we are facing, as are all cities in Iowa, increases in cost centers beyond your control. The best example, and not to pick on pensions, but employee pensions are an example of cost centers that are increasing at an alarming rate. They are beyond your control. We simply pay what the formula calculates, and that adds to our burden. So all of these points under don't forget are things that are going to happen, are in place today. So you add to that the impacts of House File 691.
But there was also a write-up of that same meeting, the Wednesday, April 27th, Des Moines Register. Capital Crossroads organizers want closer Ames-Des Moines relations. And we did vote on that as well, but only after we got a long, kind of lengthy explanation from the Market Street representative, Alex, how important that was and how important the steering committee considered that. It was very necessary, and so we took the vote, and sure enough, the voting reflected what he told us was important. So it was also interesting methodology there. All right, so voting's fun.
For those in the audience or listening or around the council table, we have a somewhat more detailed accounting of House File 691. If anybody wants a copy, I've got copies here.
The next article is working together to preserve soil and water. And this is in the opinion section of the Wednesday, April 27th, Des Moines Register. There's a picture of Lisa Jackson and Tom Vilsack. Lisa Jackson is with she's the administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency. And Tom Vilsack is our former governor and current secretary of the U.S. Department of Agriculture. So, according to them, American farmers are among our nation's first and finest conservationists. They understand better than anyone that clean water, clean air, and healthy soil are the raw materials for agricultural production. From generations of experience, they know that you cannot continually take from the soil without giving back, and they have made incredible strides to protect the land they rely on. Last week was our first opportunity to travel together, though we have each been active in our work with the agricultural community. Talking to farmers is everyday work at the USDA, while senior EPA officials have met with hundreds of farmers and ranchers in the past 2 years. Visiting a cattle and a row crop operation in Iowa was a great reminder of American agriculture's incredible productivity and an opportunity to see firsthand the cutting-edge conservation measures American farmers have pioneered over the past decades, which is a very interesting article. It's good to see our tax dollars at work. But my main question was, do row crop farming and conservation belong in the same sentence? I don't know. Here it does. So that's a pretty interesting article. I love to read our newspapers. I love to go to community meetings. I really enjoy watching news as it unfolds and policy as it happens. It's very exciting. You never know what's going to happen.
Quality of life is impacted by safety, whether it's police or it's fire. It's about parks. It's about the way we maintain those parks. It's about the way we maintain our streets. It's about the way these guys shovel the streets out and plow them out during a snowstorm.
So I also visited the Des Moines City Council this past Monday, which started with a special proclamation regarding the Public Works Department, who take care of our infrastructure and our streets and our recycling and our trash collection and things like that. The council continued on with an editorial comment from Mayor Frank County on property taxes, and so there'll be more on that later. And then also Don Tripp, head of Parks and Recreation, was presented an award by Joe Galloway. More on property taxes, specifically House File 691, was scheduled for debate yesterday, and so apparently it's up to our Senate to figure out the rest of it.
I've got to tell you, we get pretty high marks from our citizenry and from those who visit Des Moines, Iowa, especially over the last 8 years, 10 years, for the quality that we and focus that we have had on cultural, quality of life issues and public safety issues. And whether it's national media or whether it's just visitors and businesses looking at Des Moines, they're absolutely amazed at Iowa. And I've had lots of people call us as we receive many accolades for getting the honors that we have gotten over the past 18 months. That I think numbers about, what was that thing we have, about 16 of them, 18 of them? 18. It's unbelievable, the recognition that Iowa's getting.
But anyway, what the City Council wanted to impart was that the total impact of the tax reduction and how that would affect municipal services like infrastructure, road maintenance, fire and police, public safety, things like that, greenways, all that stuff. They did mention that the timing of the debate did not allow for sufficient discussion of the issues. They did consider the Senate version of the House bill, which is being guided by Senator Branstad, was deemed less harmful or more acceptable, depending on how you look at it.
As you look at the big bucket of taxes, some are too high, some are too low, but in the meantime, Iowa is right in the 15 to 20 from the low, not at the high. At 50 is the highest burden of taxes on their citizens. But part of what we do is dedicate those dollars to fulfill the expectations of our residents and our businesses and provide them with the safety and the quality of life that they've grown to expect in Iowa.
But anyway, they read those comments into the record, and it was recommended that the comments go to the Polk County delegation and then House leaders around the state of Iowa. And so there's awareness of the issues, but it depends again on where your focus is, whether it's on municipal service, whether it's on state issues, or even depending on one's position, whether they're looking even further at the federal impact of what we decide here.